The Japanese work ethic as a human, incredibly admirable. One of the hardest working, committed, dedicated societies in the world. And there's so much to be admired about it. You just come to Japan and you look around and everything just works. And it's incredible how everything just works. And so much to be admired about that. It's honoring to God. It's a reflection of His beauty, of God's consistency and control over the world and over the environment. It's a clear, cultural mandate application, like that God has called us to govern over creation in a way that brings order to things, brings order out of chaos and makes things more beautiful. And so that's something that we can affirm. But on the other side, the gospel comes into Japan and sees so much brokenness, so much idolatry of work, of success, of sort of, the saying here is that the nail that sticks up gets hammered down. Anything that's different is pressed back into conformity with the rest of society. Japanese are afraid to break free from that. They're afraid to be different, to show weakness, to show failure. With Japanese men particularly, the window of relationship and fellowship is for building friendship is really just their college years. Once Japanese men graduate college and get into the workforce, you rarely see them. They are so busy. They're consumed with the company culture and the life of the company. And it's a very hard force to fight against. Finding time to create a different narrative for their life, to disciple them into a different story, because their story is being crafted by the flow of culture, which is work hard in school, work hard in college, get a good job, and build this career in this company, and give your life to your company. And that's a story that a lot of Japanese men live for, and they find themselves trapped in for decades, and they can't get out of. And so finding ways to disrupt that story with good questions, with creating space for them to break free and be confronted with another story is a really important part of reaching Japanese men. Another Japanese proverb is the image of a samurai who hasn't eaten for a week, but he stands there with a toothpick in his mouth, picking his teeth, because he can't show that he's hungry. He can't demonstrate weakness. And I think the gospel comes into a society like this where men are afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to be weak, afraid to confess their sin and their failures, and gives them that freedom and says, we're not machines, we're not robots, we're humans. We have imperfections, but we have a Savior. We have a God who loves us, even in our brokenness, so much so that He would be broken for us to make us whole. And I think that's how the gospel would critique that work culture and lead, and then also you can look at it from the area of rest. The gospel invites you to rest in the busyness of life and says that you can take a break, you can take a Sabbath and step away from all that you're working in, all that you're doing, because God is in control and you're not. To swing to the other side, where the Western sort of ideal right now is the autonomous self, that we are the maker of our identity, our destiny, and all that, and that identity isn't given externally. It's something entirely internal that you need to find or define or explore, and it can change, and all these Western narratives that now, and yeah, you do begin to see Japanese kind of wrestling with those questions too, about autonomy, where the society has largely been about, your identity is given externally from forces that you don't control. So Japan, young people are caught in the middle of that. I think one of the prevailing sentiments of Japanese of the Japanese story is a longing for home, a longing for welcome, a longing for a community to be a part of, a people. And we live in the world's biggest city, 36 million people, and everyone's lonely. And everybody is struggling with that. And so a lot of times evangelism in Japan begins with just friendship and being there for somebody, showing them what it means to love and be loved, because so many people have never experienced that. So many people don't know what that looks like. And I think that disrupts that cultural narrative that they're being pulled into, that's trying to give them meaning and purpose in their work and in this external identity that the Japanese society is trying to give them, showing them that they're welcome and they have a place in the family of God.